You set your alarm for 7. You wake up at 6:58 every single time. 2 minutes before the exact moment you told your brain to open your eyes, you're already awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how your body knew. It's not a coincidence, and it's not your phone glitching. Your brain has been preparing for this exact moment for the last 2 hours. While you were deep in sleep, dreaming, drooling on your pillow, a tiny region behind your eyes was counting down like a silent mission control. And right on schedule, it fired the launch sequence. Here's what most people never realize. Your brain doesn't just react to morning, it predicts it. Deep inside your hypothalamus, sitting just above where your optic nerves cross, there's a cluster of about 20,000 neurons. Scientists call it the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That name sounds complicated, but it just means above the crossing. This little cluster is your master clock. It doesn't use gears or batteries. It runs on light, rhythm, and about 24 hours of internal timing. Every single day, this clock orchestrates what your body does and when. And long before your alarm goes off, your master clock starts the countdown. About 90 minutes before your planned wake time, something remarkable begins. Your body temperature, which dropped to its lowest point during deep sleep, starts creeping upward. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, but your brain notices that rising temperature is the first signal that morning is approaching. Then, roughly 60 minutes before your alarm, your adrenal glands begin releasing cortisol. You might know cortisol as the stress hormone. And yes, too much of it is bad. But this specific release, called the cortisol awakening response, is actually your body's built-in starting pistol. It was first formally documented by researchers at the University of Dresden in the early 2000s, and what they found was striking. Cortisol levels can jump by 50 to 75% within the first 30 to 45 minutes of waking. But the preparation begins even before you open your eyes. Your brain is essentially saying, "Wake up is coming, get ready." This isn't random, this is a system. Think about what needs to happen for you to go from unconscious to functional. Your blood pressure has to rise, your heart rate has to increase, your muscles need to regain tone, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and awareness, has to come back online. All of this takes time, and your brain knows that, so it doesn't wait for the alarm. It starts the sequence in advance, like a pilot running through pre-flight checks before takeoff. But here's the part that really gets strange. How does your brain know what time your alarm is set for? The answer comes down to something called temporal learning. Your brain is a prediction machine. That's its primary job, not thinking, not feeling, predicting. And when you set your alarm to the same time every day, your brain doesn't just hear a beep and react. It learns the pattern. It starts to expect the alarm, and expectation in neuroscience is everything. Till Roneberg, a chronobiologist at Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich, has spent decades studying how internal timekeeping works. His research shows that your circadian system doesn't just respond to external cues. It actively anticipates them. When you go to bed at a consistent time and wake at a consistent time, your brain builds a model of that schedule. It starts treating your alarm time as a fixed event, the way it treats sunrise or sunset. And once your brain accepts that pattern, it begins adjusting your biology to meet it. This is why people who wake up at the same time every day, even without an alarm, often wake within minutes of their usual time. Their master clock has become so precise that it doesn't need the external cue anymore. But what about those mornings when you wake up exactly 1 minute before your alarm? Is your brain really that accurate? Actually, yes, and the reason why is a little unsettling. Russell Foster, a circadian neuroscientist at the University of Oxford, explains that your internal clock is remarkably precise when conditions are regular. In controlled studies, subjects kept on consistent sleep schedules showed wake time predictions accurate to within a few minutes. Your brain, it turns out, doesn't just know roughly when morning is coming. It has been tracking your sleep cycles, monitoring your hormone levels, adjusting your body temperature, and coordinating all of it to arrive at consciousness at exactly the right moment. Now here's where it gets personal. Have you ever noticed that you're more likely to wake up before your alarm on days when something important is happening? A job interview, a flight, a big meeting. On those mornings, you don't just wake up before the alarm. You bolt awake, heart pounding, mind racing. Convinced you've overslept, you grab your phone and it's 4:30 in the morning. That's your amygdala hijacking the process. The amygdala is your brain's threat detector. It sits deep in your temporal lobe, roughly the shape and size of an almond. Its job is to scan for danger and respond before your conscious mind has time to think. When you have something important the next day, your amygdala registers that as a potential threat. Not a physical threat exactly, but a social one, the threat of being late, the threat of failing, the threat of embarrassment. And when your amygdala perceives a threat, it does something very specific. It floods your system with norepinephrine and cortisol far earlier than your normal wake sequence would require. Joseph Ledoux, a neuroscientist at New York University, has spent years mapping this exact pathway. His work shows that the amygdala can trigger a stress response in milliseconds, bypassing your rational brain entirely. You don't decide to be anxious about oversleeping. Your brain decides for you. And the result is that you wake up hours before you need to, drenched in adrenaline for no logical reason. This is also why on those mornings you can't fall back asleep. Your brain has declared an emergency. Your cortisol is spiking. Your heart rate is elevated. Your body temperature has already risen. From your brain's perspective, you are under attack. Going back to sleep would be dangerous. So even though you know rationally that your alarm will wake you in 3 hours, your body refuses to cooperate. Here's a question that might bother you now. Can you actually train your brain to wake up exactly when you want? The short answer is yes, and you already have. Every consistent schedule you've kept has taught your brain a new pattern. The problem is that most people aren't consistent. They sleep at 11 on weeknights and 1 on weekends. They set alarms for 6:30 on Monday and 9 on Saturday. From your brain's perspective, this is chaos. It can't build a reliable prediction model. So instead of smoothly waking you before your alarm, it keeps you in a confused half-sleep until the alarm actually fires. And then you feel groggy. That groggy feeling has a name: sleep inertia. And it's worse when your brain is caught off guard by the wake time. Charles Chasler, a sleep scientist at Harvard Medical School, has shown that social jet lag, the difference between your weekday and weekend sleep schedules, does measurable damage to your circadian rhythm. Even a 2-hour shift on weekends is enough to disrupt the precision of your internal clock on Monday morning. Your brain was ready to wake you at 9. You forced it to wake you at 6:30. The mismatch creates that heavy, foggy, disoriented feeling that makes Monday mornings so painfully familiar. So what's actually happening in those final seconds before you open your eyes, 1 or 2 minutes before the alarm? Your brain has already been ramping up for over an hour. Cortisol is flowing. Body temperature has risen. Heart rate is increasing. But in those last moments, something subtle happens. Your sleep cycles, which normally move through deep sleep and REM in roughly 90-minute waves, are engineered to end lighter near the morning. Your brain shifts toward more REM sleep and lighter stages in the final cycle. This is by design. Waking from deep sleep is jarring and disorienting. Waking from light sleep feels natural. Your brain knows this. So at times your final sleep stage to be shallow, placing you right on the edge of consciousness. You're floating half here, half there. The boundary between dreaming and waking becomes thin. And in that fragile moment, your brain makes a calculation. It estimates the time. It senses the light filtering through your eyelids. It checks your body's readiness, and it makes a call. Time to wake up. Your eyes open. You glance at your phone, 6:58. And for just a second, you feel like something impossible has happened. Like your body reached through time and grabbed you just before the alarm could. But it wasn't magic. It was 20,000 neurons in your hypothalamus. It was cortisol rising through your bloodstream. It was a master clock that has been ticking since before you were born, synchronized to light and rhythm and repetition. It was your brain doing the most fundamental thing it has always done, predicting the future and getting it right. The alarm you set last night was never really for your brain. It was for your phone. Your brain was already awake. It was just waiting for you to catch up.